direct. So what are direct stresses? So direct stress is given by P by A, load by area, and bending stress is given by My by I. Clear? Now let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Let us say that. Let me give you one example with the help of yeah, like this. I can give you an example. Yes, I can give you an example like this. So yeah, okay. So let us say that you have a compression member like this. Compression members are generally columns. Okay. Let us say that you have a compression member like this. Let us say that you have a compression member like this. So this compression member has an axis. This compression member has an axis. Now, some load might be acting on this. Some load might be acting on this, and let us say that the cross section area of the column is A. Let us say that the cross section area of the column is say this type of loading which is at the center, of the column is known as the concentric loading. Concentric loading along the center line, of, if I draw the top view, so this is a column, this is the neutral axis like this. So this load would be acting somewhere here at this P point. So at the center of the column, this load would be acting somewhere here it would be acting. Clear? So in this case, we have direct stresses. In this case, the stresses which are generated are known as the direct stresses, and the direct stresses, because I told you that we are engineers, we play with the term direct. It means falling directly. Okay, direct stresses are given by P by A. Simple. P by A is direct stress. For concentric loadings, we have direct stresses given by P by A. Now this concept which I am going to tell you right now, combined bending and direct stresses, it will also have the use of engineering mechanics, which I have already told you. Engineering mechanics also will also be used. And this is very important, right? Okay, because a lot of students have a lot of confusion in this portion, which I am going to tell you right now. So this is regarding the concentric loading. We can also have this type of loading. Why I am not making a straight line? Of the column, we can have a loading P at some distance. Let us say that this distance is Ex. Let me draw the top view. So this is the top view. Okay. So I can have a loading at this point also, which is at a distance of E small x. I can have a loading at this point also, P. So P is not going shear, it is actually normal. This P is actually normal like this. This P is acting like this. I have drawn it like this, but it is actually acting like this. The P is actually acting like this, okay, at a distance of Ex. Or we can also have a loading like this. Okay. So this is the front view. This is acting somewhere here, but an eccentricity of Ey. Obviously, I cannot draw Ey because this is X, this is Y. Okay. But here in the top view, I can draw it easily. So this is the center. So this load is acting somewhere here. This load is acting normal to this column. Like this. Okay. At an eccentricity of Ey. Or we can also have a case where we have a column like this, and this is acting somewhere here. If I look at the top view, is like this. So the load is somewhere here. The load is somewhere here at an eccentricity of Ey as well as at an eccentricity of Ex. Ey and this is Ex. Okay, so this is the case number 1. So this is the case. This is case number 2. This is case number 3. This is case number 4. Case number 4. Okay, now this is a concentric loading, and these types of loading, case 2, case 3, case 4, are these types of loadings are known as loading. Let me write it here. Case 2, 3 and 4 are called as the eccentric loading. Eccentric means at an eccentricity. These loads are actually acting. Eccentricity. Case 2 and case 3 are known as uniaxial loading. It means that we have an eccentricity either on x-axis or on y-axis. So two types of cases are known as uniaxial cases. But in case number 4, we have eccentricity for both Ex and for both Y also. These type of cases are known as biaxial cases. These cases are known as biaxial cases. So this is very simple. I am not going to explain you. If somebody says you what is the direct stress, divide the load with area, you will get the direct stress. Nobody is going to even ask you that question. Okay. The question which may be asked in GATE examination or other examinations is regarding either the uniaxial or the biaxial loading. Now let us understand first of all about the uniaxial loading. Now let me rub this. Let me change the marker. Now this is the uniaxial. So we know that in engineering mechanics we have discussed that, as well as when we were discussing about the shear force and bending moment diagrams also, we know that if suppose you have a load here P, at an eccentricity E, can I do one thing? Can I transfer this load P at the axis along with the moment which is equals to P into Ex? Can I do that? Yes, I can do that. This is what we have actually discussed or studied in engineering mechanics also, as well as when we were drawing the shear force and bending moment diagram also, we did this thing. For example, if you remember, let us say that you have a beam like this. You have, let us say, some loading here P. We used to transfer this load here along with some moment, if you remember. Clear? Same we can do here also. So what can I do is that, now what we have done is P at the center moment which is equals to P into E. Let me draw the top view also. So this is the top view of the column. Let's say this point is A, this is B, this is C, this is D. Now I have transferred it with this type of movement. Now remember, the movement is this. So clockwise means it is this. This movement is acting, this, like this. It means that whole of this phase get compressed and whole of this phase has tension. I'll be coming to that also, don't worry. What is compression, what is tension? How can I determine whether which is compression, which is tension? Don't worry. Okay. So now earlier load was acting somewhere here, but I have transferred the load to this point along with this type of movement. I obviously three dimension, I can't draw this, but remember like this, we have a movement P. Because it is 3 dimension. Because for example, this is duster, earlier this was the duster, now this is the top view of the duster. So this loading was acting somewhere here, load was acting. I have transferred this loading to the center point along with this movement. Because this loading is acting here, so this is eccentricity, so this is the movement acting. This is the movement acting. Okay. So now, obviously, this column has now two loads. Is the direct compressive force acting at the center, and one we also have a moment. Due to the direct load, we will have direct stresses P by A, simple. And due to that moment, we will have bending stresses. Because it will try to bend the column, it will try to bend this section. It will try to bend this section like this. Like this will get bent, this will get compressed. It will have bending stresses also. So the total stresses are actually given by P into Ex, are actually given by direct stresses plus minus bending stress, So the total stresses, can I say that direct stresses P by A, let us say section area of this column, plus minus what are the bending stresses? My by I. Now listen to this very carefully regarding this Y and regarding this I. Now since in this case it will be equal to P by A, since in this case the eccentricity was in the X direction. So what I will say is that the moment will be equal to P into Ex. And this Y, so Y will be from this point to the extreme point. So from this point to the extreme point, we have, let us say that this distance is, this is actually, you can say, let me take it as X. Let me take it as X, not X. Let me take it as B. And let me take it as D also. Okay. So B will be this Y will be equal to B by 2 because we are measuring in this direction, into B by 2 divided by I. Moment of inertia, and moment of inertia with respect to the Y axis, not X axis, because I will be taking moment of inertia with respect to X axis if I am measuring the stresses either at this point or at this point. But if I am measuring moment of inertia either on this axis or on this axis, that is either on AB or CD, then it will be IYY. Okay. If somebody says you that we have 4 corners A, B, C, D, determine the stress at the corner number 1, that is corner number A. Then what some people do is that they remember the sign. This is positive, this is negative. I will say that do not remember the sign. Just imagine. For example, let me give you one example. I had a notebook here. Yeah, this is the notebook. I had a notebook here. Yeah, this is a notebook. I have a notebook here. Clear? Okay, I have a notebook here. Now, let us say that the load is actually acting at an eccentricity Ex. Let us say this is the top view of the column. This was a column. The load is acting somewhere here. This is the axis, but the load is actually acting somewhere here at an eccentricity of Ex. This is the top view of the column. If the load is actually acting somewhere here at an eccentricity of Ex, you can see that if I apply some load like this, it means that these opposite corners will lift, and this corner and this corner, they will get compressed. So I will say that if it is compression, I will say that it is positive, and for tension it will be negative. Again I am repeating, this is the top view of the column. The column is like this. We have a rectangular column, let us say. Okay, so if I am applying some load here, if I am pushing it, then these two ends will lift, and these two ends are getting compressed. So I will say that sigma at A will be equal to P by A plus P into Ex into B by 2 into Iyy, and that will be equal to sigma at B, A and B. But sigma at D will be equal to sigma at C will be equal to P by A minus P into Ex into B by 2 into Iyy into Yy. I into Yy. This way. Okay. The question is, sir, okay, we are getting some negative. Can this value be 0 also? My answer would be yes. This value can be 0 also. Because if the eccentricity is so much that it is creating a lot of bending stresses, this side of the column, it might also get lifted. What does 0 mean? 0 means that there is no contact between the column and the surface. It has actually lifted. Can I determine that value? Yes, I can determine that value. Just put it equal to 0. If I put it equal to 0, let's say what can I get? It will be equal to P by A will be equal to P into Ex B by 2 Iyy will be equal to D into B cube by 12. D into B cube divided by 12. So P get cancelled out. Okay, and A is actually equal to B into D. And DD also get cancelled out. B and square get cancelled out. It will be 6. So B and eccentricity will come out to be B by 6. Eccentricity will come out to be B by 6. It means that if your load, let me draw the top view here. If your load, let us say this was the top view, this is our B. If your load is acting at some eccentricity Ex, if it is greater than B by 6, then what will happen? The tension will happen. It means that to stop it from tension, the eccentricity should always be less than B by 6. To stop it from tension, the eccentricity should always be less than B by 6. Okay. Similarly, we can discuss this case also. Same case. Nothing will change. Same case. So here, suppose that the load is acting at some eccentricity. Let me rub this point only. Now suppose that load is acting, but it is acting at an eccentricity of Ey. So it will be, now draw the of the column would be like this. So it is acting at an eccentricity of EY. This was EY. Now load is acting here at this point P. So again, so sigma total will be equal to P by A plus minus P into EY into Y. Y will be equal to, now Y will be equal to D by 2. This is D and this is B. Now Y will be equal to D by 2 and I will be equal to B into D cube divided by 12. B into D cube divided by 12. You will be getting the same value. Should be smaller than also, because 0 also no tension, but after 0 it is negative, it is tension. Should be less than equal to D by 6. Should be less than equal to D by 6. So please, can you explain the moment again? Okay, I will explain the moment again. Don't worry, I will explain the moment again. Now, let me explain you moment with the help of this notebook. This was a column and this is the top view of the column. This is EX and this is EY. This is EX, this is EY. Clear? So, not this like this, you will understand. Let us say this is EX and this is EY, this is the top view of the column. A column is like this, a big column, top view, EX and EY. Now, this is EX, this is EY. So, the load, this load is acting somewhere here, That is at an eccentricity of EX, it is acting somewhere here. So, can I transfer this load to the center? I can do, but along with the moment, how the moment will be? Will it be anti-clockwise or will it be clockwise? Obviously, along this center, about this center, because this is a load acting this in this direction, about this center, it will be clockwise. About the center, it will be clockwise. The moment will be clockwise. So that is what I have done, clockwise. Now, what does the clockwise moment means? So this is the clockwise moment. The load is going in this direction. The moment is about the center. The moment is clockwise moment, like this. The clockwise moment about the center, it is clockwise. It means that it tries to compress this face and tries to lift up this face. It tries to compress this face and tries to lift up this face. This face is this and this. So let us say A, B, C, D. It tries to lift CD and tries to compress AB. This movement, it tries to compress AB and tries to lift CD. So that is the meaning.